rafters. Out back in a yard that stretched out to the horizon was a cluster of fragrant lilacs, 2 magnolia trees, and a 100-year-old oak tree. And like every piece of land owned by the Davenport family, there was a patch of peach trees growing wild. Her grandmother was already waiting on the porch, as was her nosy neighbor, Miss Gus. Opal waved to hurry Julia on and keep her out of Gus's snare as soon as she pulled up. They had to go make the funeral arrangements. "When is Peaches coming?" had been the first thing Raymond Donaldson had asked when he had walked through her door the day before to take her father's body to the funeral home. Mr. Donaldson did transport and other odd jobs for the funeral home that would take care of Jasper's remains, like driving the cars filled with families to and from the services and setting up the floral arrangements. Someone Julia had known for years, Raymond Donaldson had recently been stopping by her office and purposely, it seemed, running into her as she went about town, although he'd never done more than make small talk. That day, though, he had something specific he wanted to chat about. Julia was sure he'd already heard about what Carmela had done. She should have known it wouldn't take long for people to start talking about her sister because of it. And those were the thoughts that took over, filling up her mind with things that now needed to be done to lay her father to rest and what other consequences it would bring. Like her sister. Julia couldn't even take the time to grieve. "I don't know," Julia had said. She wanted to add she didn't care, but that would have just been rude. He looked up from his work, covering her father with a sheet, nodding to his assistant who had waited, hands folded, to bring the black gurney over and help lift the body when told. "Peaches not coming?" He looked at her, skepticism showing in his eyes. Everyone still referred to Julia's younger sister, Nona, by her childhood nickname, even though people around Natchez hadn't seen her in ages. Not since she'd left, in the middle of the night, more years ago than Julia cared to remember. She, like their mother, had abandoned the family. Julia liked to think of her mother as dead. She was as good as dead, long gone, never heard from, never talked about, not even by the people she used to know, and that had helped Julia's thoughts of her fade. But Julia didn't have that luxury with Nona. Everyone remembered her and always wanted to know what she was doing up there in Chicago. A quick internet search would have told them all they wanted to know. What Julia wanted? To forget all about Nona, just as she'd done her mother. Nona had carelessly and unforgivingly turned everything upside down, and when she had, everything had fallen on Julia. Peaches. They were on everybody's mind, all the time. On all the land her family owned, except Julia's house, she'd refused to put one on her property. Everywhere they didn't belong, invading her life. Everywhere but in the Devil's Punch Bowl, and that had made it nearly impossible for Julia to erase Nona. "I don't know," Julia had said, crossing one arm across her torso, the other hand rising to rest on her forehead. She, as of late, had looked forward to bumping into Raymond. She liked the attention he'd given her, something she hadn't had from a man in a long time, something she hadn't ever stopped wanting, but something she hadn't been able to find. Her conversations with Raymond seemed to round out her life, make it complete, less tenuous, more normal, and the way he smiled at her made her feel pretty, wanted, desirable, and not so alone. And it kept her mind off of things, like what if things had gone differently with her and Marcus,